I see. So it was true.
Yes, T was attacked by Olgar. I mumbled that it was because of me.
That's your problem. You'll have to deal with it on your own.
Thanks. Appreciate you. Lavon! That's harsh! It's okay. Lavon's absolutely right.
This will be an opportunity.
What do you mean?
Many of the people in town hate the way the Hawks are doing things.
The way they were doing things. They captured people in the town at will and then forced them to admit to crimes by torture. At times, they took lives as well.
I'm sure it's on Olgar's orders, and their actions continue to escalate.
So what? I already heard about that the last time.
I'm saying now is the time to act.
The air went tense. This plan had been in the works since Francisca was murdered, and now? It's finally time. We will kill Olgar.
If we can take care of things quietly, all the better. But at the very least, we're dragging him off of his throne as the Lord. The town will remain in darkness otherwise.
If Olgar handed over the magical stone in peace, we might be able to leave it at that. But perhaps it was already too late. I think it's kind of hypocritical to have Olgar hand over his stone and not have Lavon hand over his stone, but that's just me. Even if he had turned insane, Olgar had already attacked too many people. The townspeople, Francisca, even T. But by all means, we'll let the serial killer stay with us.
And it seems that Lucas has left their manor.
He did?
Seems like he's given up on his own father.
It must be because of T. Lavon continued without answering.
We have people who have located him. Jed, you want to try talking to him?
Me? Talk to Lucas? I did want to talk with him, but at the same time I'm too embarrassed. I wondered how Lucas felt at that moment. The father he respected so much tried to kill his sister. But I was the one who instigated it.
Whether or not Lucas joins in, we're putting the plan into motion. But if you are serious about defeating Olgar, then I will welcome you to join.
To defeat Olgar. That was my goal to begin with, to avenge Francisca. But right now... Can you give me a little time?
I can't give you much. We can only wait a few days at most.
I don't mind.
All right. I'll let Lucas know. So he'll come here.
I'm surprised he hasn't come here to see his sister yet at this point. For the next few days, I stayed by T's side. From morning to night, I checked on her even when she was asleep in the hopes of her getting better soon. When she was in pain, I treated her. Other times, I continued to talk to her. I might have been a nuisance to her. I knew what I did couldn't be forgiven with this, but this was what I wanted to do. I thought that maybe this would allow T to regain her lost voice. Lucas might come to visit. It might be tomorrow or the day after. Maybe even today. I would be lying if I said it didn't worry me. But right now I was afraid of seeing him. But I was able to forget that at least when I was nursing T back to health. My focus was now bringing back the brightness she used to have. I wanted to save T, but instead I was the one being saved. Realization of this brought bitterness to my heart. It made me realize just how many people saved me. Aww, look at these two.
Working hard, aren't you?
On that day, Elric and Rabbit were there together. Did you come to help?
You don't need any. You just go and do everything yourself. Come on, let's go. Whatever. Anyway, I'm going now.
I didn't know what they talked about between themselves, but Elric left Rabbit behind. Huh? Wait, why is Rabbit...
Rabbit wants to play with her today. I'll get going now.
Aw, Usagi. Was there that much of a message in that little cry?
Pa! Pa!
Elric said that there was nothing he could do to help, but I disagreed. T showed more emotion when she was with someone other than me. Usagi is so excitable. She frowned when Levi came, and when Rabbit was here, she smiled just as she did now. That was something I couldn't do. When was the last time I properly spoke with T? Right, it was during the masquerade. After that, the incident with Francisca happened. We weren't in any position to be able to talk to anyone in the Hawk clan. Do you remember what we talked about, T? No answer, so I tried to search through my memory. On that day. I see. I helped out quite a lot with the preparations for the masquerade this year. I spoke with many wolves during the preparations. There were kind ones and also some funny ones. I was thinking that it wouldn't be bad if we could continue being nice to each other. Hearing her words is reminding me that I should hate my very self. T was changing for the good. What she was saying now would have made me so happy back then. And yet I betrayed T's trust.
Pa?
I remembered things and got depressed. 2 sets of eyes looked at me worriedly. Oh, no, I shouldn't be like this in front of T. I wondered if she still desires what she said before. T, do you still want to get along with the wolves? No answer, but she didn't appear to reject it. If that's the case, I want to help. After all, that is something I desire too. I'll do anything for that. Anything. So that the hawks and the wolves... So that T and I could smile again. And for that we have to end this conflict. I could tell that my mind was slowly but surely coming to that resolve. But we have to defeat T's father for that. Is that really the right thing to do? That night, I checked to see that T had completely fallen asleep before heading back to my own room. In that moment, I heard a slight sound. Was there someone in the chapel at this hour? It could have been my imagination, but I also thought of a single possibility. He could be here. I should go. The chapel was deathly quiet. The faint glow from the stained glass window painted a pattern on the floor. A scene that appeared so transient that it would vanish the moment I touched it. In the middle of it stood Lucas. Damn. What a picture. Whew. The lighting is everything in this. Lucas. Was he really there? Was it really Lucas who was standing there? Something made me doubt that it was him. His dauntless strength was nowhere to be seen. His saddened eyes were like those of a fearful boy.
I was told by Levon to come here to meet.
Yeah. That voice was Lucas's, without a doubt. I thought he would come, but I wasn't ready yet. What should I talk about? He glanced over to me and then quickly back to the stained glass window.
It's been a while since I've seen this. It all feels like it's far in the past.
That stained glass window?
It was my real father who made this.
Get out of town, really? Interesting. His real father, prior to his being adopted by Olgar.
Father was a glass craftsman. He was paid almost nothing, and he had few jobs, too. A friendly woman asked him to make this, wishing for the peace of the townspeople. A man who couldn't even protect his family bit off more than he could chew.
I listened quietly. Lucas told me his past back when we were alone at the tower, too. But something about him was different this time. His voice was soft. No, it sounded kind.
And that was why I learned from Father, Olgar. In order to protect what you love, you need power, not prayer. Political power to move people. A strong heart that doesn't yield even when you are hated. That was what I learned.
Little by little, that kindness in his voice became muffled. It was returning to the strong voice that I knew him for.
Father is wrong. He's drunk with power. He's destroying what he is meant to protect. I want to think it's all the magical stone's fault.
If that's your thoughts, then... It was then that it crossed my mind that I should tell him my desire. Yes, there is only one thing that I want from Lugus. Help me stop Olgar. Lugus didn't reply. Instead, he simply stared at me. I know I don't have the right to ask you this, but the reason that Olgar hurt T is because of me. Even so.
It was Father who did that, not you.
But...
That's not something I need you to ask me. I will protect this town in my own way. This is the town my previous and current father wanted to protect. If it is for that, I will fight alongside you.
Lugus. Lugus held out his hand. I firmly grasped it in mine. I was moved by his words. Lugus was strong. He has decided to fight his own father. I should follow his example. This was for Lugus, Levon, and Levi, too. This would also be for T's and my sake. We would take the magical stone from Olgar.
And... T is here, isn't she?
Oh, yes. But I think she's sleeping right now. I motioned for him to follow me, and I took him to her room. That's a good brother. I quietly opened the door, but T, who I thought was sleeping, turned her head. Oh, sorry. Did I wake you up? She slowly shook her head.
T.
T looked at the other guest in her room, but she showed no emotion upon seeing him. That breaks my heart. Does she not remember Lugus? She can't speak, or a part of her memories is lost. I whispered into his ear what happened to her. Lugus didn't appear to be surprised. He looked at T up close and seemed relieved.
You saved my sister's life. I will thank you for this in kind.
I wasn't the one who saved her. And a slight sigh. A raspy yet cute voice that didn't belong to either Lugus or myself. T? Can you speak now? I ran to her bedside. I moved closer so that I didn't miss a single word she said. She just needed to see her brother. Lugus! Tease! She spoke. Her voice was back.
T.
Lugus went to her side. T tried to stand up and touched my face with her slender fingers. T? Thank you. You were so kind to me. My tears blurred my vision. I felt so happy and sorry that this was what she said first. I'm sorry. T's hand came over mine. She was warm. Thank you. I held T's hand back. It might have hurt her, but I couldn't help myself. More tears flowed. I had been doing nothing but cry recently. T's memories weren't back yet. Her wounds hadn't fully healed either. But there was light in her eyes once more. That made me so happy that the tears would not stop. Another step's been taken. Good. Good. A few days passed by quickly. Levon and Lugas stopped coming to the church. On the other hand, Levi started coming in and out as a messenger. The effect of Lugas's rebellion was rather large. A lot of sympathizers to their cause had gathered. With the increase in numbers came greater need for preparations. I left them to it so that I could remain by T's side. I feel like we're building to the climax of this game. Her emotions and voice came haltingly, but I could clearly see that she was getting better by the day. Her wounds still hadn't healed, so she couldn't move around, but it wouldn't be long until she could walk again. The day of the mission arrived before she could get better. Visiting Mom's grave. Tomorrow we would raid Olgar's manor.
I'm so nervous. It's time. Yeah.
I've waited too long for this.
Everyone was gathered at the church. When was the last time the four of us were gathered here? I think it was the masquerade.
Huh? What was that?
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about when the last time was that we gathered together like this.
The masquerade. It feels so long ago now. Yeah. It does, but it isn't.
Oh,
What?
I just remembered. We met a long time ago, even before the masquerade.
Huh?
You remember? When we went exploring the forest.
When we were kids. The other boy was you, Lugas.
Told you. Was it? I couldn't remember. But in my hazy memory, I think there was another boy there. How could you block out Lugas? When I looked to Lugas, he heaved a sigh as if he just gave up. Like, I remembered all the time, but I didn't want to admit to it.
We were on opposing sides. I would have preferred that you didn't remember.
Well, Jed, you were still small, so you can't help it if you can't remember.
Still, fate can be a strange thing.
Yeah. The children who stood up to go to the witch's forest were now standing up again to protect the town. It was like a fairy tale. It felt like destiny to me.
There's something I need to tell you. What's with you all of a sudden?
Don't tell me you got afraid like when we were kids.
Levi teased Lugas, but he didn't act any differently. Even on our side, Lugas didn't change one bit. I used to think his attitude was threatening and overbearing, but now it feels so dependable.
If you or anyone else has to face Olgar, kill him without hesitation.
Those strong words echoed. Interesting. Lugas told us to kill his own father.
And when you come across the same situation, what are you going to do? Isn't it obvious?
But Lugas, the magical stone is the reason Olgar is... His mind was eroded by lunacy because of it. Lugas did say that he hoped that was the only reason. He might return to normal once you take away that magical stone.
I say this knowingly. If you show any hesitation to that man, it'll prove fatal to you.
You've gotta be exaggerating. He's a pretty old dude now, isn't he?
That man is the one who taught me how to fight with the sword. And I've also never beaten him before.
Even Lugas couldn't beat him. I just fought Lugas the other day. Okay, so I stand no chance. Great. I thought I was pretty good myself, but I didn't stand a chance.
Then again, the last time we sparred was a few years ago. I don't know if I'll still lose to him.
In that case...
I'm telling you to throw away that naivete. Olgar is a beast that would try to murder his own daughter. Do not hold on to that kind of hope, no matter what.
There was no reason to say any more. Lucas's determination was real. Although they were not related by blood, he used to respect Olgar so much. He knew Olgar was crazed only because of that magical stone. I knew he was the person among us who wanted Olgar dead the least. Olgar murdered Francisca. No, not just Francisca. All the people who gathered here all thought of Olgar as a target of vengeance for their family or other people close to them. But was it the right thing to do? To kill Olgar? What exactly did I want to do? Is that going to be my final choice? To kill or not kill him? We all were sent away for the time being to prepare for the next step. I'm sure we held a sense of uncertainty within our minds. What should I do? I wanted to talk to someone to feel better about this. That was all I could think. Who should I go and talk to? Oh, interesting. 4 boys. Is Hugh around? Is he actually around? Well, since Hugh is so far down my list for route, and also because I like Hugh a lot, I'm gonna go find my boy Hugh and see what mysterious sayings he has for me tonight. If I can find him. I wanted to see Hugh. For some reason. That was what I thought. I shook my head immediately. He wouldn't appear just because I wanted to see him. I love this guy. He's just waiting. And I'm like, hello? Oh, this guy's great. You rang? Whoa! How did he... The man stood to my side with the slight grin he always wore. Was it so surprising you had to yell? Why are you... I had almost forgotten. This man always appeared out of nowhere. How many times had we had this exchange? I didn't know why I laughed. Why did this man always appear before me? What was he thinking? I usually wondered about that, but today was different. I simply wanted to talk to Hugh. Maybe I was feeling a bit emotional right now. I wanted to talk. Talk? Yeah, it can be about anything. Fairy tales, tall tales, whatever. You probably know a lot of those. That's what I feel like right now. Are you feeling needlessly sentimental? I suppose you will need accompaniment through the night during times like these. Hugh nodded to himself, then sat on the sofa and crossed his legs. His porcelain cheek was illuminated by the glow of the stained glass window. Now then, let me tell you of the world where it constantly rains. Please do. That sounds familiar. Rains? Ooh, I like this music. It is the story of a manor far away from here. I sat next to Hugh to listen. Oh, it's the song from Black Butterfly, but like remixed. Oh, I love it. This is great. This is so good. His voice shook the air. His words came out in a regular rhythm, giving me the illusion that it was drawing me into a dream. I passed through the stories that Hugh told. About 2 brothers who were finally able to bury the hatchet. About the coming of age of a weak boy. About the girl who found hope amidst despair. About the elder brother who lost his sister when she was still young. About the man who lived in fantasy, moving along to the next worlds. Kageha? They all seemed like fairy tales, but a part of me felt they were all real. That's about it. After listening to all of it, Hugh's voice brought me back to reality. Were all those stories something you created?
No. They all happened in real life. Whether it is something that happened in the past, or will happen in the distant future, you have no way of knowing.
He said nonsensical things as always. After listening to him talk, there was something I noticed. Aren't there any stories where you appear, Hugh? If they were stories that he'd seen himself, it wouldn't be strange if he appeared in them too. Even if the stories were all made up, I thought it would be interesting to hear a story Hugh appeared in.
I only record the stories of others. An observer, if you will. I will never be the protagonist.
He smiled with a hint of sadness. Then why not create your own story? Your life belongs to you. You're the protagonist of your story, so... I might be feeling a bit strange today. I rarely read any stories to begin with. Hugh's stories must have affected me in that way. Hugh seemed quite amused, seeing how excited I was, as if I came up with some grandiose story. He didn't look at me in a negative way.
You're nice.
Hugh's finger reached out and brushed against my cheek.
You should choose me.
I'm trying, man. I will. I promise. It'll happen one day. I mean, I chose you tonight. Does that count for anything?
Huh? Talking to you. Being watched by you. It makes me feel that I'm right here. I pray that there will be light wherever you go.
After saying that, he pulled away his fingers. Hugh. By the time I called out to him, he was already far away. I stood up from the chair, but I was unable to chase after him. I felt like I was left behind in one of his stories. That was a great encounter. I'm so emotional from hearing the Black Butterfly music, I can't even tell you guys. I'm just like, oh, all those people. The bit about a man living in fantasy, though, was interesting. He didn't talk about Usagi specifically. And, I mean, obviously the boy who lost his sister at a young age is talking about Hokage, so the man who lives in fantasy must have been referring to Natsu. So he just keeps moving between worlds, but why? Okay, I've got even more questions, but anyway, I loved that. Daybreak arrived. This was the morning when the plan would be put into motion. I woke up and changed into my clothes. Ooh, looking good, girl. I drew the sword from my hip. Even though I checked it the night before, I did so again. There wasn't a single speck of rust nor any chip on its edge.
If you or anyone else has to face Olgar, kill him without hesitation.
Would I have to do that? Would I have to kill Olgar with my own blade? I returned the sword into its sheath as if to put away my doubts. I would do everything in my power for that. Nothing more, nothing less. I came down to the chapel and saw the three of them already there. No one was talking. We exchanged glances and nodded to each other. All that was enough. Here we go. It was snowing over the town as usual. A quiet snow that had fallen onto the town for years. While the sky was still slightly dark, we arrived at the town square. Over 100 people had already gathered there. They all carried some sort of weapon and kept quiet. Someone among the crowd noticed us, and soon all eyes were gazing our way. Their glances moved to the center, to where Levon and Lugus were. This is a great picture. Big fan.
We will now take down the tyrannical Lord of the Hawks. take up arms so that peace can finally return to this town. The current lord has gone mad. When I overthrow him, I swear I will assist in bringing peace back to this town."
A cheer roared. The entire group moved forward, led by the two heirs. They were all heading toward Hawk Manor.
It begins.
Yes.
We're going our separate ways from here. Don't get yourself killed out there.
You too. See you later. I could see the manor. They must have anticipated our movements. His private army was standing guard before the gates.
"I will ask you this as a formality. Do you have any intention of yielding?"
No soldier answered Lugas's question.
"Thought so. In that case, I am coming in by force."
Please wait! The voice wasn't from the private army, but from inside the manor. The front door opened, revealing some of the servants that worked at Olgar's manor.
We have no intention of fighting, so please. "Then flee at once. If you remain in the manor, I cannot guarantee your safety."
Yes. One of the maids led the other servants out of the manor in single file. The gates were open from the inside. In that moment,
"You people are going to betray Master Olgar too?"
No, I never.
"Death to the traitors!"
Huh? Ah! Oh no, maid! I liked her. She was in love with a wolf boy. It happened all in a blur. One of the soldiers swung his weapon at the maid, and she fell to the ground. One after another, the servants all dropped. Ah!
Stop! Ah!
Unarmed people who have no intention of fighting were being cut down.
"Stop it! What are you doing?"
We have direct orders to kill all traitors. They betrayed the Hawk clan and deserved this fate.
"You bastards!"
Oh, this is a new pose. What's going on here?
"Follow my lead. Don't let them get away with this."
The sounds of war echoed. The entire scene was chaotic, with our side, the soldiers, and what remained of the servants running about. I was near the rear, so the battle hadn't come to me yet, but the sheer number of people were keeping me from being able to move freely. I needed to get up to the front. I need to get to the manor so I could reach Olgar.
"This way."
Huh? Someone pulled me by the arm all of a sudden. I was pulled from the crowd and taken to a gap in the fence within the perimeter of the manor. Thanks.
"The infiltration has been a success."
I thought I was used to this man popping out of nowhere. Even so, I did not expect to see him here. Me neither. I thought it was Elric for a hot second. Hugh, why? Before I could continue, Hugh hushed me with his finger.
"It's too early to chat. There are still many soldiers inside the manor. Follow me."
Wait! This time he didn't draw me by the hand. I tried to follow Hugh by keeping him in my sights. I mean, he'll know the layout if he's also Haku. We circled around to the back of the manor. There were 2 guards on patrol there.
"Can you do it?"
Of course. Hugh and I raced forward.
"Who the hell are you?"
I had to end this before they made any noise. Right as I passed by them, I drew my sword. It was deflected. I should have expected as much from Olgar's private guards. But that wasn't enough. Ha! Whoa! I parried his sword with the next strike. He was off balance, so I aimed for his neck. I smacked him with the blunt end of my sword. Gah! He collapsed. I managed to knock him out.
"Well done. You're very kind, aren't you?"
I turned around and see that he was done too. The soldier on the ground didn't seem to be bleeding. You too.
I simply dislike trouble. Now, let's hurry. It's only a matter of time before they find out.
We snuck into the manor from an opened window. We avoided the stairway in the front and took a narrow wooden stairway likely used by the servants to enter the second floor. We dodged footsteps from the guards and prudently made our way forward. The building was quite vast, but I was surprised at how well I was making progress.
Now then, if you keep going, you'll arrive at Olgar's room.
Have you been to this manor before, Hugh? I called out to him as we ran. A part of me wasn't surprised that he seemed to know exactly how the manor was structured. He navigated us through it so smoothly that I couldn't doubt it.
Maybe I have. Maybe I haven't.
There you go again, dodging the question. I wanted to get a straight answer out of him, but it was low on the priority list at the moment. Olgar was up ahead. The man who killed Francisca. A man crazed by the magical stone.
Over there!
I heard voices from behind us. The guards in the back must have discovered us. I turned around and saw a group of men running toward us. I drew my sword, but the man next to me held out his arm to stop me.
It's rather unoriginal being interfered with after coming this far. I'll take care of them.
Hugh! But...
There is a back door, lavishly decorated around the corner. That's Olgar's room.
You bastards!
A soldier raised his sword high. In an instant, it was deflected by Hugh.
This is all I can help you with. The rest is up to you.
All right. I faced forward and started running. I would do all I could. Wait!
Ah! You have to deal with me first. I won't let you interfere.